But it is the final day of action at the Athletics South Africa National Championships. We've already heard from the ASA President, James Moloi, who is in attendance in Cape Town. It's also refreshing to be able to have fans at the Nationals, which was perhaps unthinkable earlier this year. My colleague Justin Ford, of course, is our man on the spot, and he joins us again. Justin, hello again to you. So, of course, earlier you've already caught us up on the past few days that have already taken place. What can we expect from today, the final day?
Yeah, good afternoon again, Nicole. I think what the athletes potentially have not expected is the cooler weather. You would have noticed that I've actually put on a jacket because in the shade in Cape Town, weirdly enough, it's pretty chilly out here. So I think the weather conditions cooling down quite a bit. Sun's out, so the second half of the track they get to run in a bit of sun. But all in all, cooler conditions. So that's what the athletes can expect today. So the times potentially not expected to be high, or at least quick times should I rather use. But with that being said, we saw the long jump action. We saw some high jump, the females, high jump, shot put. At the moment, we actually have Caster Semenya competing in the women's senior 10,000 meter competition. She and her running partner leading the way at the moment. They are 15 laps away from the end of their race, 10 laps into the race. But the big attraction, no doubt, today has to be the shorter distances. The 400 meter men's and women's being completed, 200 and 800 still to go. So that's what can be expected today for the balance of the afternoon, with the last race expected at just after 6 o'clock this evening.
Justin, talking about Caster Semenya, do you think that there's light at the end of the tunnel for her? I mean, as South Africans, we all absolutely love her. We all think that she is an exceptional athlete, but she hadn't done very, very well. And of course, we know, everything that had happened behind the scenes when it comes to her and her athletic career. So do you think things can turn around for her at some point?
Look, we got to see her here in Cape Town as well at the ASA Grand Prix event, where she actually spoke to the media, having won one of the events. And she was clear that, what's happened in the past has happened. Whatever else is going on is with the lawyers. For her, really her focus at the moment is to generate the next Caster Semenya. She understands that it's going to be tough for her to get out on the field again, but she's still determined to be able to get there, and hence why she competed in the 5,000 and 10,000 meter events, the 5,000 on Thursday and the 10,000 today. So she's still a determined athlete wanting to compete at the world stage. Whether she will be able to do the middle distance, is still unsure, but for now the longer distance is where she's moved her focus, as well as training the future generation of middle distance runners. So I think on that point, she's hopeful that she will get to continue. Having spoken to James Moloi as well, as you would have heard earlier, opportunities will be made available for these athletes who don't qualify for World Champs and Commonwealth Games during this national meet, but hopefully she can go out potentially to Europe and get that opportunity to again represent South Africa.
Very quickly before you go, please, Justin, of course there were some standout performances yesterday. We saw Prudence Sekhodiso and Nkosinathi Sibiya take the national men and women's 1,500 meter titles there.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what's so exciting about athletics in South Africa. These athletes really coming to the fore, wanting to prove their worth and coming out on top. That for me is what's mostly exciting. We, for the longest time, have spoken about a certain few names, but now we're getting more familiar with new names and new athletes being the best at what they do in their particular disciplines in South African athletics, and that for me, Nicole, is what's most exciting out here at the ASA National Championships.
So speaking about Caster perhaps finding opportunities abroad, one of our colleagues, Claudine Timkulu, very recently, I think it was about a week ago, there was a story of hers that she had on Athletics South Africa, who's trying their best to keep their track and field talent in the country. But I mean, of course, there are other attractive things abroad, being, more competition, being better resources, more money. What exactly do you think ASA needs to do to ensure that our athletes here at home have access to the resources that they require in order to do what is, a passion for them?
Absolutely. I think the big buzz, or at least the big factor, has to be sponsorships. I think as Athletics South Africa, that is what they have to secure in order to keep our athletes here. Yes, you talk about it being their passion, but at the same time, it's also their daily living. So if they are receiving opportunities to go to international universities where they will be paid to train, to compete, they unfortunately don't have an option but to take up those opportunities. Whereas if there was money available here to keep them here, the facilities are here, the coaches are here, but it comes down to that money in the pocket where our athletes would like to receive more remuneration in order to sustain their livelihoods and keep them in South Africa and actually compete here. So it's a different story, whereas now we had to bring the best to South Africa, the likes of Dominique Scott in the 5,000 meter. She lives abroad in America, but the fact that she wants to represent South Africa at the World Champs and the Commonwealth Games meant she had to come and run here. But with that being said, if the money is in the country, they no doubt will stay here.
Justin, thank you so much for that, and we're definitely going to catch up with you later. Of course, the event is still ongoing. It's at the Athletics South Africa National Champions. We'll have more